Okay, so I recorded a whole episode of Bracketology. Whole episode. It was great. Talked about all the teams. It was great. Except I forgot to turn my mic on. I uploaded it, and the whole chat was telling me that my mic was off. I wanted to off myself, but you know what? It's gonna be okay because we are just gonna upload another one. But what I want to show y'all first is I made my own AP poll. It's pretty cool. This is on my Indiana Express page that I run on Instagram, so you guys should go follow that page. A lot of good IU stuff on there. But I made an AP poll. This is what it looks like. Now, I had UCLA at 22, and I had Maryland at 12. UCLA just beat the brakes off of Maryland, so I switched them. And actually, Maryland beat Illinois, so I'm actually going to put Maryland ahead of Illinois. But this is what my AP poll looks like. And the seeding is mostly the same. As in, these top 4 are 1 seeds, these 4 are 2 seeds, these are 3 seeds, these are 4 seeds. Mostly. They're mostly the same. This is my AP poll. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. I definitely think UConn's looked like the best team. I think Virginia and Tennessee are the next 2 best teams. Purdue, Arizona, I couldn't figure out which one of those 2 to put at 4 or 5. I just decided that Purdue's undefeated, and that's why they should be a little bit ahead. Texas at 6. They, by the way, I am going to show the full bracket in a minute here. Texas at 6. Now, the situation with their head coach, Chris Beard, he got arrested for domestic battery or assault, whatever. He is currently spending his nights at the Crossbar Hotel. So, not a good situation there for Texas. And in their first game without their head coach, they got taken to overtime by Rice. They did beat Rice in overtime, but you should not be taking Rice to overtime. Kansas at 7. And also Texas, they still have a lot of good wins, but we'll see how they handle their coach not being around. Kansas at 7. They're definitely a really good team. They're a force to be reckoned with. A lot of good talented players. They got thrashed by Tennessee, but they've been beating teams up and down since then. They beat Seton Hall by 30. They beat Missouri by 30. Those are 2, halfway decent teams that are beaten by 30 points. So Kansas, Alabama at 8. Now they have 1 loss. It's to UConn. They just played the number 1 team, Houston, and they were down the majority of that game, but they came back and won. They came all the way back. Great comeback win against the number 1 team. They actually have beat the number 1 team twice now. They beat North Carolina when they were number 1, and they beat and they've now beaten Houston. So interesting thing there. So and I put Houston right below them. Houston, they only have the 1 loss to Alabama, but I have Bama ahead of Houston because they of course beat Houston. In the AP poll, Alabama is 4 and Houston is 5. I think all 3 of these teams are better than them. Kansas, Texas, and Arizona. I think all 3 of them are better than Arizona and Houston. This is my opinion. You can disagree if you want to. That Arkansas is kind of the last of the 1-loss teams. I have them at 10. Baylor and UCLA, they both have 2 losses, but I'm really high on both these teams. And they both have some really good wins. So I have them at 11 and 12. I have Miami and TCU at 13 and 14. They both only have 1 loss, but they kind of lack some of the wins that the teams ahead of them have. So, but since they only have the 1 loss, I have them at 13 and 14. And Auburn. I have Auburn at 15. Auburn just lost to Memphis, who I don't have in here. I don't know why. I think Memphis is barely on the cut for being ranked. I don't know what to really think of Memphis. Memphis is a good team. I know I've been hating on Memphis in the past, but they weren't ranked in the AP poll. They had the most votes of teams that weren't ranked, of all the AP poll teams. Like they had the most votes to be ranked, but weren't ranked. They lost to St. Louis and Seton Hall earlier in the year, but they did just beat Auburn, and then they lost to Alabama by 3. But I think Memphis is good, just not quite good enough to be ranked. And now we have a horde of 2-loss teams: Duke, IU, and Kentucky. These 3 are about the same for me in terms of what teams they've beaten and in terms of their preseason expectations. In the preseason, these teams were all supposed to be near the top 10. They all had 2 losses. You could put these teams in pretty much any order if you ask me. Gonzaga, first 3-loss team. I think they've looked the best out of the 3-loss teams, so that's why they're there. Mississippi State, they're undefeated, but they haven't really beaten anyone yet. Well, I'd rather be undefeated and not beating anyone good than to have like 3 losses against like good teams. Like, does that make sense? Like, I'm pretty sure Mississippi State is happier about where they're at than Gonzaga is, even though I have Gonzaga ahead of them. Maryland and Illinois, they both have 2 losses. Actually, Illinois, I think, has 3. Actually, no, they both have 3 losses, I think. Is that right? Hold on. Let me look. Yeah, Maryland is currently at 8-3, but they have some good wins. They've kind of got... Actually, they've lost their last 3. They've played 4 ranked teams in a row: Illinois, Wisconsin, Tennessee, Maryland. They went 1-3 in those games, but they only got blown out in 1. They lost by 27 to UCLA. That's why I gave UCLA a pretty big bump up. They lost by 3 to Tennessee. I mean, Maryland's still a good team. I definitely think they should be proud of the way they've been playing. Illinois, I have right there. They just beat Texas in overtime, but they did lose to Maryland and Penn State. I don't know. They're very off and on team. I had them at 22. San Diego State at 23. No one has San Diego State even ranked. I don't even know why. I think they're a very good team. And I mean, they're 7-3. And all their losses are to decent teams, and they've beaten some good teams, so I have them there. Charleston currently sitting at 10-1, and Virginia Tech also at 10-1, but Charleston beat Virginia Tech. That one loss for Virginia Tech is to Charleston, so I have Charleston 1 spot ahead of Virginia Tech. That's my AP poll. Hopefully you guys like it. Remember, go follow Indiana Express. It's gonna be a good page. But let's go now to the bracket. Let's see every single team. Let's take a look here. There's so much lag. Oh my god, the lag. The lag is just unfathomable. Ed Jerome is... I use Wi-Fi. It's just a bitch. Everyone hates Ed Jerome. So sorry if this is just gonna be lagging like a motherfucker. Oh my god, the logos won't even load. The logos won't even load. Oh my god, Ed Jerome, thank you so much. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. I'm going to quickly go through every matchup and state why I have each team winning. Honestly, for a lot of these teams, I have no idea if they're good or not. I just have no idea. Honestly, here's my Sweet 16. UConn, Kentucky, UCLA, Alabama, Tennessee, Iona. Just because Auburn and Illinois have been looking kind of suspect, I'm going to take an upset here. Houston, Wisconsin. I took Wisconsin over Texas, mostly just because of all the drama surrounding Chris Beard, and they haven't looked well since. I took Kansas, Iowa, Maryland, Purdue, Arizona, TCU, IU, and Virginia. Honestly, of those 16, besides maybe Iona, you could probably pick any of them to win the national title, and people wouldn't even have a gripe with you. I do want to go over what teams are new since we last did this. UNLV is new. They're currently undefeated. They have been playing some alright teams. They're undefeated. I mean, not very many teams are undefeated still, so good for UNLV. And also New Mexico. They're also undefeated. They have a good win over St. Mary's, so good for New Mexico. New to the bracket. Penn State is new. They've beaten some decent teams. They're 7-3. I gave them a play-in. I think they're definitely good enough to be a play-in. They shoot the 3 really well. Dangerous team in the Big Ten for like they're kind of like a sleeper team in the Big Ten. Who else is new? Who's new to the bracket? West Virginia. They're 8-2. They've been beating some decent teams. They have a good team. Utah and Memphis, I think, are both new. Utah beat Arizona, and they're sitting at like 8-2. So, good job for Utah. I have them in there, and then Memphis I also have in after beating Auburn. I think Memphis was like a play-in, but I moved them up quite a bit. Mississippi State is new. They weren't in last time. I have them at a 6. Yeah, that's what we got. So now let me just go over the picks. For the East, I have UConn, Alabama, UCLA, Gonzaga, Kentucky. Actually, UCLA and Gonzaga really shouldn't be in the East, but just don't pay attention to that. Really, it only matters for the first team. It didn't really matter. I took Kentucky over Gonzaga just because they both played each other in the regular season. And I think that if two teams play each other in the two high caliber teams play each other in the regular season, if they play again, the team that lost will win because it's hard to beat a team twice and they'll just know what they need to improve on. That's been a theme that I've been trying to pick up on. You will see that a lot in this video. I have UCLA and Alabama here. I never think UCLA's looked better. I think UCLA's the better team. I just think they're all around better than Alabama, even though Alabama's ranked a little bit higher. So I have UCLA here, and then I'm taking UConn. I think UConn's looked like the best team in the country, so I'm going to take them. Over here, I have Tennessee, because Houston and Texas have both not looked that great, and Wisconsin's kind of heating up and looking really good. So I have Wisconsin making a run here. I think they have the potential to do so, but then I have Tennessee winning, and I have Tennessee making the Final Four. Over here, I have, what do we got? Virginia as the 1 seed, Arizona at the 2, Arkansas at the 3. TCU is a very experienced team. That's why I have them beating Arkansas, because Arkansas is a very young team with a lot of talented freshmen. Arkansas might be the more talented team, but I think TCU's got that experience. What else do we got here? Miami. Miami's a very off-and-on team. They just gave up 105 to Cornell, but they won. They won 105 to 107. My God. When Miami is on, they're a spectacular team, and they're great to watch. When they're not on their A game, anyone can beat them. Literally anyone can beat them. So it depends on what Miami team you see show up. They did make the Elite Eight last year, so I'm going to bank on them showing up in this tournament. IU, they just lost to Rutgers and Arizona. But both of those games are kind of road games with terrible reffing. I'm not saying the refs are the reason they lost either one. It's just, if you watch the game, wow, they were bad. They're still a talented team. They got to play Kansas this upcoming Saturday. That's going to be a tough game. I don't think IU will win. I want to see them win. But winning at Kansas is a hard feat. So, I do think IU could beat Virginia, though. Virginia struggled their last 2 games. They only beat a 1-9 Florida State by like 5. And they only beat James Madison by 5. So, Virginia's struggling a little bit. I think if IU gets their act together, they could definitely be good enough to beat Virginia. Arizona down here definitely would beat Virginia Tech, Montana State, and I think they're better than TCU. I think Arizona definitely is better than IU. They just beat IU. But the reason I'm taking IU is because if they played again, I would take the team that lost. Because it's hard to beat a good team twice. Over here, Purdue number 1. Okay, Purdue should not be number 1 in the AP poll. They just should not be. Like I said, if we look back at my poll, I definitely think that UConn, Virginia, and Tennessee are better than Purdue. You could even make the argument that Arizona, Texas, and Kansas are better. I got a lot of respect for Zach Edey, though, because he is the only player on that team worth a damn. It is Zach Edey and 4 bums. Bums. That is how bad the rest of Purdue's team is. Did y'all watch that game when they played Nebraska? They 100% should have lost. Purdue was just jacking up shots and couldn't make a single one. And they just couldn't fathom giving the ball to their 7'4" center. I definitely think they're better than Texas Tech and Maryland, though. So I think they get to the Elite Eight. Over here, I had a hard time picking between Baylor, Iowa, and Kansas. I definitely think that Kansas is the best of those three teams. Baylor and Iowa are both very, very good. But I'm going to take Kansas, and I do think Kansas is better than Purdue. So I am going to take Kansas. Here's the Final Four. I'm taking Kansas over IU. I think they're going to play this Saturday, and I think Kansas will win. So I'm going to take Kansas here. And then UConn and Tennessee. It's really hard. I know UConn's good. This is a coin flip for me. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think Tennessee's maybe a little bit better of a team. I know they have that really bad loss to Colorado to start the year, but they've rebounded really nicely since then. This is tough, but I'm going to take Tennessee. And then between Tennessee and Kansas, I'm going to take the same logic. Tennessee beat Kansas by 14 earlier in the year, but it's hard to beat a good team twice. It really is. So, you know what? I'm going to take Kansas, but that's just my pick. I mean, you could pick pretty much anyone to win, and you would be considered a rational human. Yeah, very tightly packed field this year. I don't really know I don't really know who's going to... Oh, that's a logo. I thought there was something on my shirt, but it's just a little B logo. I don't even know what it's for. But yeah, I got Kansas. But maybe you have someone else. I don't know. But I'll see y'all around. Sound worked this time. Thank God.